Hey, welcome to week 4. We're moving right along with this semester. Let's take a look at your assignments for this week. And so now getting into budgeting, it says for this week. And so math-wise, some of the things you'll encounter are working with percents and with unit conversions and this kind of thing, working with money a bit. And so I know unit conversions, that tends to be a place that people get tripped up on those unit conversions. There are some good examples in this video lesson, so make sure you watch that, especially if you struggle with those. Got your reading quiz as usual, so read that book and watch the video lesson. Then you have your next group assignment this weekend. So let's take a look at that group assignment, what you've got going on with it. So this week for the group assignment, going along with that budgeting idea, right? And so our first one, we have Zena, who's really, we're just kind of keeping track of her spending. You'll enter things in here, total things up, and work with her cash flow. With this one, Eduardo now is trying to make a budget for himself and trying to decide, oh, how much should he budget for groceries so that he doesn't have to withdraw anything from savings. And then looking at, well, is this really a reasonable budget? You know, can he live off that amount for groceries? Jenny, right here, spent more than she should have in January. And so looking at, okay, how much does she have to take out of savings to cover that? And then she's working on a new budget. And so evaluating this and deciding how much can she spend here on this entertainment based so that she doesn't go over again. Our last one you've got is dealing with cell phones, and we have some different cell phone options here. And so Tanisha and Drew, here's their monthly budget right there, and here are these different cell phones plans. And so keep in mind, some of these are monthly rates, and then our last one is a yearly rate. It wants a monthly and a yearly for each of those different plans calculated out, and then evaluating which should they choose, which is best and which works for their budget best. So that's the group assignment. Make sure you get the quiz in with that. I hope your groups are going well. Let me know if you do have any concerns with how that's going with your groups. Your Mobius assignment, going along with all of this, make sure that gets in. This one's due on Thursday this week. And really, all of these so far are due on Thursday, with only your case study due on Saturday. And so I do want to look at the case study. This is your first one. Case study is done in Excel, similar to your group assignments. And one thing that's going to be key with this is that you use formulas and cell references in Excel. And so I just want to remind you that we have some resources for that. And so from the home page, if you go to the student resources here, and you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of the modules to find those, but we have some Excel resource videos. So if you can't remember or you haven't ever used these before, check out these videos. They're a really great help with that. All right, let's go back up here to our week 4 stuff and look at that budgeting case study and what we've got going with it. So here we have Seth and his budget, and so he's trying to get through school. He's got a couple semesters left, and in January he kind of spent more than he should have, and we're going to help him budget for the rest of these 7 months he has left in these 2 semesters. So some keys with this spreadsheet. So notice there's kind of this little orange triangle up here. If you hover over those with your mouse, it brings up these instruction boxes. Pay attention to those. Those are important. Step 5, you'll see these arrows going down here. This is where you'll type in your answer for step 5, and then step 6 is below that. So that arrow comes clear down here. don't forget to do both of those. Okay, and so step 5 is explaining your budget for Seth, and then step 6, you have a couple of questions. Make sure you answer both of those. They need to be at least 3 to 5 sentence answers for each of those. Make sure that happens so that I don't have to take off points on those. All right, you'll also find these little hint boxes, same thing with the little orange corner there. If you hover over those, they give you some hints on how these calculations need to be done. I think most of them are pretty straightforward. The one that people struggle with most is this right here. Our very last one is final savings balance. And so if you hover over and look at the hint, you'll see that this needs to be the new savings balance. And so that will be this result. You'll make a calculation here, find a new savings balance. That balance, you need to subtract from it the savings withdrawal for January. And so you'll figure out how much does he need to take out to cover his expenditure from January. And then you're also making these new monthly goals here. And so you have 7 months that he'll be withdrawing money from savings because he just doesn't have enough cash flow otherwise to cover his expenses. And so each month he'll withdraw whatever this amount is from savings, and that's for 7 months. So you have to subtract from the new savings balance this January one and 7 months worth of this new monthly goal savings withdrawal right there. And that's what will give you this final savings balance. Please use cell references with those formulas. It will make this so much easier, especially as you're calculating his new budget. It really helps a lot if you have those formulas and cell references in there and you're adjusting things to make sure he doesn't spend more money than he has. Another thing here is this How Did I Do tab. If you click on that, it's going to tell you where you have errors and where you have things correct. Right now, we haven't put anything in and it's mostly all incorrect. So I will be looking at this and using this as part of the grading when I do that. And so you'll want to try and get all of these correct, 44 possible to get correct. And so try and aim for that if you can as you fill this out, but this will be kind of your guide of where things are going right and where things are going wrong on this. Hopefully that gets you started. I'm happy to help with any other questions you have as you go on that. It can be a little tricky, so if you do encounter trouble and you just can't figure it out, send me your file in an email and I'll be happy to look at it and give you some pointers and figure out where things are going wrong if you have some trouble. And so I'm happy to do that if you do need some help with the case study. If you do have other questions, I'd like you to leave them in the comments in this announcement, or you can send me an email if it's a more personal one. And I am also happy to help you with those. Good luck again on your assignments this week.